He would punch her, choke her, drag her, slap her in the mouth. I saw him kick her, punch her in the stomach.
Why did you try to keep the person who abused you happy?
Because when he was happy, I was safe.
What was your understanding of where the Molotov cocktail was found by law enforcement?
In the driver's seat.
Again and again, that criminal enterprise serviced the defendant's every desire through a methodical pattern of violence, coercion, and manipulation.
He is innocent. He sits there innocent. Return him to his family, who have been waiting for him.
We had a wonderful jury. They listened to every word, and they got the situation right, or certainly right enough.
From his criminal trial to sentencing earlier this month, Sean Diddy Combs has always been a hot topic of conversation, but now he finds himself back trending after reports are pointing to a potential presidential pardon. But the White House is saying not so fast. Earlier this week, TMZ reported that a high-ranking White House official confirmed to them that President Trump is considering commutation for Combs, even stating that the president could set Diddy free as early as this week. But the White House is pushing back against that reporting, saying in a statement Tuesday that there is zero truth to a possible pardon by the president for Diddy at this time. So the first question for our power panel, we're backing up a second, is Diddy deserving of a presidential pardon? Let's bring in our guests. Still with me, celebrity attorney Ben Chew, and want to welcome in the editor-in-chief of the Hip Hop Inquirer. He covered Diddy's trial start to finish, Dennis Byron. Good morning to you both. All right, Dennis, would you start us off, please? What do you think? Is Diddy deserving of this?
I would say absolutely. And I'll say that because when we went in, we thought that there was going to be a likely conviction of RICO, sex trafficking, and related charges. However, after watching all the evidence, listening to the witnesses, and hearing the conclusion, it was clear that he was overcharged. President Trump in May of 2018 pardoned posthumous Jack Johnson on the Mann Act, and it was literally towards I guess the middle of his term. I think it's not unlikely that he would do this. And the other part of this is TMZ usually have good sources, so I don't think that this is far from the truth.
Oh, that's another good point too. Dennis, thank you for all that. Ben Chew, I want to turn to you. What do you think? Is Diddy deserving of a presidential pardon?
Julie, I think, as Dennis referenced, this was a compromise verdict. So I think in that sense, I think that a pardon may not be justified, but I have a very strong opinion on whether there will be a pardon, which I anticipate is your next question.
Yes, my friend. Well, let's get to it. So in August, we know during an interview with Newsmax, President Trump was asked about potentially pardoning Diddy. So here's what he had to say. He said, quote, "I was very friendly with him. I got along with him great, seemed like a nice guy. I didn't know him well, but when I ran for office, he was very hostile. When you knew someone and you were fine, and then you run for office and he made some terrible statements. So I don't know, it's more difficult. It makes it more, I'm being honest, it makes it more difficult to do." Fair enough. All right, so let's get to those predictions. Our next question for our power panel guest. Do you believe that a pardon will happen? Ben Chew, would you start us off, please?
2 words. George Santos. As you know, President Trump very recently commuted the sentence of George Santos, who had only served 3 months out of a 7-year sentence. This is something, if passed as prologue, that President Trump very much likes to do. He refers to himself as the chief law enforcement officer of the land. He likes to exercise that power. I would bet you, I'm not a betting person, but I would bet you a chicken dinner that he will pardon Diddy.
I like the rationale you're putting forth here, Ben. George Santos, just a reminder, this is the disgraced congressman, pleaded to wire fraud and aggravated identity theft. So those were his crimes. Got the pardon. Also pardoned the Chrisleys, the reality couple. Todd and Julie Chrisley gave them pardons, and he pardoned roughly 1,500 criminal defendants in connection with the attack on the Capitol, the January 6th attack. So those are some of the past pardons. Dennis Byron, what's your prediction for the future for Diddy?
I predict that I will be buying Mr. Shu chicken dinner at Sylvia's restaurant in Harlem. It will definitely, I believe it will definitely happen. The timing is, that's the only thing I'm uncertain. It may happen this week. It may happen in a couple of months. But I think that because Diddy had, he had a friendship with Mr. Trump. That friendship was pretty strong. You would see him at some of Diddy's events. I don't think President Trump will have a grudge, while Diddy did say some not so favorable words against the president, but I think I don't think he'll have a long grudge on dealing with Diddy. I think he'll get a pardon.
Mm-hmm. Right. I mean, he even was referencing recently how, he and Marco Rubio in the past, running against, each other within the party. And then now look at them now. So, he seems to be able to move on if there was a little grudge at some point during the election. So this is interesting. Friends at home, tweet us, let us know what you think about this, if you think that Diddy will be pardoned. We're thinking about the offenses. These, in the grand scheme of federal charges and all the things that the federal government can bring, what he was convicted of, low-level prostitution offenses. I want to emphasize that. Dennis, you know this well from being in the courtroom day in and day out. I had a conversation yesterday, with some friends just discussing the case, and I think for people who didn't see it, didn't watch it, weren't necessarily reviewing the evidence, but just were hearing reports on, TikTok or wherever, I think there's still some strong misconceptions about what the case was about. Do you agree?
I do. Even looking at the opening, I mean, a lot of those things stuck with people as far as alleged involvement with children, and but I think what really sticking heavy is the Cassie video, and a lot of people don't realize that he actually wasn't convicted of that, but that was a powerful tool that the prosecution used to argue their case. So I think, while it was I'm not making no light of the fact that Cassie was assaulted, abused, and very violently. I think that's why a lot of people don't want Mr. Combs to get out right away.
Right. I think you're exactly right. That video was dreadful, and there's been so much support for Cassie, rightfully so, because of that. And legally, Ben Chu, I mean, it's tough when you have a client on trial, but I mean, that was not what he was being prosecuted for. It came into the prosecution, as you know. But Ben, do you think that largely has affected the public opinion for him, probably for good?
I definitely do. And I thought at the time that would be a good appellate issue if he were in fact convicted, as he was on some of the counts, because he wasn't being charged for that. And to allow that video in, the jury can't unsee that. And despite whatever the instructions were, they're going to have that perception. So I think you and Dennis are exactly right. That's indelible. And I think it was arguably overly prejudicial, more prejudicial than it was probative of what he was actually charged for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, really great points. I have to say the defense team did a fine job in embracing it, acknowledging it. They didn't run from it. They acknowledged it was wrong. He was wrong on every level for what he did. So I think they earned some credibility with the jury. We'll see what happens next. We'll stand by.